ourselves. And really, when you love yourself, you don't let anybody tell you shit. You don't let anybody step on your toes. You don't let anybody cross your boundaries. When you love yourself, you know what you want. So not only does this stress stay in our bodies, but in our minds and our hearts. And so it's so important to learn more about ourselves and why we do the things we do and heal so that we don't continue this pattern of, hello, welcome back to Way of K. I'm Kara, and I'm just here to share my healing journey and give any tips that helped me along the way, as I wish someone would have given me. Today's topic is unlocking your inner child and healing trauma with self-love. So self-love is a powerful tool for healing trauma and also unlocking your inner child, and it helps us to reconnect with our true self and find joy in life. I think a lot of us suppress ourselves for the sake of, circumstance, relationships, friends, jobs, whatever. And so by embracing our feelings, we can kind of learn to accept ourselves and be kinder to ourselves, and also use self-love to forgive past mistakes, let go of grudges, and create healthier relationships with others. With the power of self-love, we can heal from our trauma and become more connected to our inner child. And that's the part of us that's filled with joy, creativity, and curiosity. Introduction. What is inner child healing and how can it help you? So inner child healing is a therapeutic process that helps to heal emotional wounds of childhood trauma and reconnect with our inner child, and is a powerful tool for self-discovery and self-love, as it helps us to understand our current behavior and feelings by looking at our past experiences. So inner child work can help us to identify patterns of behavior that are no longer serving us, as well as uncovering hidden emotions and beliefs that may be holding us back from living our best life. And by engaging in this kind of therapy, we can learn how to nurture ourselves with compassion and kindness, and allowing us to create healthier relationships with ourselves and others. What impact does the inner child have on us? How do we understand it? So understanding your inner child is an important part of emotional healing and growth, and it involves recognizes the impact of your childhood experiences on our current lives and learning how to heal from those experiences. And it could be something that's seemingly unrelated, but there's a story that will kind of give you a little more insight on how it can impact us later in life. So there was a woman, she was absolutely terrified of dogs. She never really knew why, she just knew that she was terrified of them. It was like a visceral reaction that she had to dogs. She was just fucking scared. She happened to bring it up around her family one day, her mom. Her mom said, don't you remember? And she's like, remember what? And she's like, when you were 2 years old, the neighbor's dog came over and tried to play with you and knocked you over, and you were absolutely terrified. It scared you. And ever since then, you didn't like dogs. So it was something that happened to her such a long time ago that she didn't even have the actual memory still. Her body remembered the experience and that it was traumatizing for her. Us as children, just children in general, are so much more susceptible to small events being registered as traumatic, like the dog knocking her over. But as adults, we can kind of be logical and understand the dog was trying to play, whatever. By understanding our inner child, we can kind of gain insight into how we think, feel, and act in our adult lives. And we can also learn how to better cope with difficult emotions and create healthier relationships with ourselves and others. Through this process of understanding our inner child, we can begin to heal from past traumas and create a more fulfilling life for ourselves. So what can you do to unlock your inner child and release trauma? So number one, you need to acknowledge and validate your feelings. The first step in healing your inner child is to acknowledge and validate the feelings and emotions that you have been carrying with you for so long. And this includes acknowledging any pain, hurt, or trauma that you may have experienced in the past. I have a journal I will show you. So it's this journal here, and it's a shadow work journal from Amazon, and it has a bunch of prompts inside of it. And I think a lot of people are afraid of shadow work because the word shadow has a lot of negative connotation in media and just everything. And the reason why it's called shadow work is not because of it being like dark or menacing or some sort of magic. It's that based off the theory by Carl Jung. So it's based off the concept of the shadow self. And so the shadow self is the self that we develop and push to the side because of things that were imposed on us as children, where say you're really energetic and excited and you talk a lot, like an adult says, why do you talk so much? Like, you need to be quiet. And so they then take on the personality of being not as excitable, quiet, reserved, because they saw that as more acceptable to the people that they respected and looked up to. So they suppress their true self to kind of accommodate others. And we do that not even just when we're young, but also throughout our lives. That's kind of where the shadow develops. It happens especially when we're young because we're so impressionable at that time. For example, I'll read some of the prompts out of here. I really, really like this. It was really cheap on Amazon. If you guys want a link, just comment and I will definitely put the link in the comments. The next one is, what things have I healed from already and how? The thing I judge myself most for, where did I learn this judgment from? What feelings am I scared to explore or accept? Yada, yada, yada. So it's really, really beneficial to kind of learn where you get certain patterns from. And that kind of relates back to the method that I've shared before of the why though method of saying, oh, I'm afraid to record in the gym. Well, why though? Well, I feel like people are going to judge me and I don't want that. It's like, well, why though? And then that's when you really start to have to think about why you're behaving or thinking in this way. And it usually relates back to something of like, oh, I was judged when I was younger, I was bullied. So I'm really afraid of people's judgment because I would rather just be acceptable and, quell myself and my passion so that other people are comfortable. And it's like, well, why though? And you keep asking why until you get to the true root of the issue. It's really, really helpful, but shadow work, everyone should be doing shadow work. It's so extremely beneficial for your mind and soul. Number 2, again, this is a reoccurring theme, but self-compassion. This is the act of being kind and understanding towards yourself. If it's something that you would not say to a friend, you should not say it to yourself. We are our biggest critic. Our brain listens to us. So the way you speak to yourself does matter. And that's why I'm so adamant about affirmations. And not my last video, but the video before that is a podcast episode of mine of just straight affirmations for 15 minutes. I listen to it on my way to the gym in the morning, and you can record your own and listen to your own self say them. I literally just picked like 50 and then put it on loop 3 or 4 times so that I could listen to it. I listen to affirmations, whether it's the one that I made or other people's, every single day, just because it does help you be in that positive mindset. And it truly does make a difference. There's a study, the gist of it is they said positive things to one set of water and negative things to another set of water. The things with the negative, I'll put pictures. Negative looked like, muddled, not very unique, not very beautiful. And then the positive things looked very beautiful. The crystalline structure was so different. And it was a very interesting, it was done in Japan, I believe. It was a very interesting study, and it's very interesting to read about. And that, again, means that like our words do have impact and like the emotions do carry energy. If you hear something negative, quickly say 3 affirmations. Literally, I used to do that when I was first really struggling with my negative self-talk, and it really helped. Number 3, engage in therapeutic activities. This could be journaling, art therapy, talk therapy. If you have a therapist, these things can help you process and release the trauma that you've been carrying with you. Meditation was really good for me as well. And these activities can help you gain a deeper understanding of yourself and your experiences, because it just gives you that time to reflect on why you're doing things or why things come to your mind. Number 4 is connecting with your inner child. This is a powerful way to heal the past and release trauma, and it can kind of reframe your childhood thoughts so that you remember things that you enjoyed. So this could be creative activities that you liked to do when you were younger or would have liked to do, things that you always wanted to do when you were young. So for example, for me, I really did like to draw and do art, but I also liked to be outside, play outside. And some people, they really liked to jump rope, roller skate, anything like that kind of was fun for you to do as a child or that you always wanted to do as a child. you can now do it as an adult and reframe it, make it better, or be able to do it for the first time. And it can be very, very healing and connecting with that part of yourself that may have felt like it was lacking. Number 5, this is a reoccurring theme as well, but self-care. It's so essential for healing not only your inner child, but just your relationship with yourself as well. And it can be very relaxing, and you can release a lot of trauma while taking care of yourself. So this could be exercise, meditation, spending time in nature, having a self-care spa day, and doing things that you enjoy like hobbies or spending times with loved ones. Whatever self-care is to you, it's so individualized. So you can get ideas from other people what their self-care routine is, but having control in some aspect of your life regarding to how you take care of yourself is so important for your relationship with yourself, because if we're constantly doing things that we don't enjoy, or just working, or just doing things that our friends want to do, we're really not caring for ourselves. So I make it a point to at least once a month, I get myself food that I really enjoy, usually sushi. I have a movie night by myself, do a face mask, do the whole shebang where I like do my self tanner, my lashes, my nails, everything. I smoke a joint, whatever the case. I take care of myself in a way that feels good for me, and it is very, very healing for me. Those are the 5 steps to kind of unlocking and releasing the trauma. Of course, it's the most difficult thing to do, to learn to love yourself and accept yourself. Once you do, it becomes so much easier to let go of the past and move forward. A lot of us, when we have traumatic experiences, we kind of separate our emotions from our body, and we no longer kind of intertwine them. And that's why things like positive affirmations daily can help change negative thoughts. Gratitude journaling can help us realize what we're really grateful for. You know that the yellow car theory or whatever it's called, where if you're looking for a yellow car, you're going to see a yellow car because your attention is more like on the yellow car. It's the same with negative and positive things. When you are more aware of the positive things going on in your life, you're going to be looking for more positive things. Same if you're more focused on the negative things, you're going to see more negative things because you were already thinking about all the negative things. So starting your day with gratitude can be very helpful, even if it's just one thing at a time. Today, I'm grateful for a roof over my head and food to eat. Today, I'm grateful that I have amazing friends and family. Today, I'm grateful for the ability to walk. Mindfulness, so meditation, yoga, mindful movement. I like to meditate or do active meditation while I'm doing the dishes because I have never been a huge fan of doing the dishes. And so making it into an activity for myself helps, and it can be very relaxing. And forgiveness, forgiving yourself and others for past mistakes. We don't forgive ourselves. We can never truly forgive other people, because if we're not forgiving the person that we spend all of our time with, how can we forgive other people? And if we're really hard on ourselves, we tend to be hard on other people too. It's just the cookie crumbles. Project, we do things that we don't really expect ourselves to do. Those things are really helpful activities to engage in to deeper understand yourself and kind of be a little more positive towards ourselves. Also making sure that you're living in your purpose. And I know a lot of us are in situations where we can't necessarily do our dream job right now, but we can work towards it right now. I think a lot of us fall into the destination syndrome where it's like, oh, I'll start my YouTube channel when I have more time. I'll start my content creation journey when I have more followers. I'll start that business that I want to start when I have this much money. Start fucking now. There's literally nothing that you can wait for, and we just end up coming up with more excuses. That's why this year I said I was going to release 1 video a week, because I was really just done with my own bullshit, because I knew that I had the time. If I could be on social media for an hour a day, I could be creating an hour a day. If I could, watch multiple shows and finish them during a week, I can spend some of that time working on my own business or working on my own passions, and you can do the same thing. It's all about time management, prioritizing the things that you're absolutely passionate about. And if you're not prioritizing it, you don't care enough. And I know that it can be different if you're in not the right mental state, but you can do a little bit of something every day. And you don't have to start great. You don't have to have the best tools for your passion. For example, one of my passions is podcasting. People have these amazing setups. They have like these fucking ultra 4K cameras, and I have this little DJI gimbal camera it's amazing. I love this camera. So have just a $30 USB microphone that I plug into my laptop, and I use a free podcasting platform called Anchor. And I got started. It was ugly, but I got started, and I had a lot of really positive feedback, and I felt very aligned with my passions. And same with YouTube. I had my phone to start, and then this camera, which is amazing. I'm so happy that I purchased this, but I really didn't need it. My phone has great quality, and if you want to start YouTube, use your phone. Start ugly, it doesn't matter. You just need to get comfortable. And even if I'm just talking into the void, it's like documenting my journey. And if you never start, you will keep asking yourself, like, what if I started this? If I started this last year, maybe this year I wouldn't be working the same job that I fucking hate, or another job that I fucking hate. You know, jumping, not doing something that you're passionate about, working a 9 to 5. If you don't want to be working a 9 to 5, you can start something small. Like, you don't have to have the best shit. You just start now. Like, find your passion, align with your passion. You'll be so much happier. And if you don't know what you want, it's time to do some deep work and discover like what you're truly passionate about. For me, I love being creative. I love creating stuff. And I'm very passionate about helping people. And so whether that's helping people by making videos like this, helping people in personal training, or whatever, I love people. The human experience is so interesting to me. And once I started aligning like the things that I'm already passionate about and learning about, and just started making shit for other people to learn, also making stuff that I love to talk about. So align with your passions, and you will be so much happier in your everyday life, and it'll allow you to love yourself more because you won't feel like you're living a life that's not your own. And that also comes with healing your inner child, because a lot of us are in jobs or situations because of like ideas that either other people imposed on us, we imposed on ourselves, or like our parents imposed on us, for example. So a lot of people are like, oh, if I don't go to college and like do this certain thing, my parents are going to be mad at me. Like, I love my parents, but
be fucking for real.
They told me not to be a personal trainer. And a lot of people told me not to be a personal trainer. They said it's not good enough money. But here I am. I live in California, and I'm able to afford rent. This is one of the most expensive places in the world to live, and I can do it. So if I can live here, I can live anywhere. And that's like a huge accomplishment. And my parents never wanted me to move here. They never wanted me to leave. They wanted me to keep going to school. And I love them, but they're very 9 to 5 oriented. It's just the time they grew up in. And that's fine. Like, they love what they do. They seem happy. And my passions just weren't aligned with working for someone else my whole life. And, you know, there's a lot of creative freedom in personal training. So I think that's why I resonated with it so much. But I also just love my clients, and I love talking to them. And so it's very rewarding for me to see people, you know, tell me that I've helped them so much. I feel so passionate about what I do, as well as like the extracurricular stuff that I do, YouTube, podcasting, my social media pages. I love creating. And so I feel like I started to love myself so much more when I started doing stuff for myself, and less for other people, and less for my parents, and less for my friends, and more just for me. And that takes a long time to learn that like it's okay, and that those who love you will stick around, and those who don't will fuck off, and that's fine. Sometimes it's scary to tell our parents that we don't want to do the things that they want us to do, but either they're going to accept you, or they're just going to keep nagging you about it, and that's fine. And eventually they'll stop. And if you don't have a good relationship with your parents, you can keep things to yourself. You don't have to tell them everything that you're doing. You can tell them, like, if they ask you questions, you can just tell them that, like, you're taking care of it. And they're like, I'm happy and I'm taking care of myself. I'm doing what I want to do. And they're either going to accept it or not. And unfortunately, sometimes there's boundaries we have to set with even the people that we love the most. And one of them for me is the boundary that I set is that nobody's going to tell me what to do or who to be. It took me a long time to be okay with that, and took me a long time to stop fearing my parents' judgment. But once I did, I felt so liberated and just truly aligned with myself, and like I was living for myself and not for my parents. Most important is be patient. This shit's not going to fix itself overnight. You're still going to react in ways that you don't expect to, or that you thought you were past. And it takes time to heal. And being patient with yourself is one of the most important aspects of healing, because the healing process can't be rushed. And sometimes we take 5 steps back to take 7 steps forward. And this past year, I found myself regressing a lot into things that I thought I healed years ago, and I haven't. And so they resurface because if you don't heal the cycle, it repeats. And each time it repeats, it gets harder and harder. And if you don't heal it, it's going to present it to you again. And it's like, all right, motherfucker, are you listening? Like, do you hear this shit? Do you feel this shit? I'm going to give it to you harder. I'm going to make you feel this even worse because you didn't fix it last time and I'm not getting your attention. So it's going to keep bringing those lessons up until you learn it. So learn it. Be patient. Pay attention. Learn the lesson. And then you can forgive yourself because it's only a mistake if you learn from it. If you don't learn from it and change it, it's a choice. And you can't keep choosing the wrong thing for your happiness, your inner child, your self-love. You have to choose yourself at some point. All in all, healing your inner child, doing shadow work, having self-love, reframing your thoughts, all of these things can be such an amazing tool, not only for ourselves, but if you want to have children, things that you can teach them. The way we treat ourselves has such a huge impact on the people around us and how we communicate in our jobs, with our family, with our spouses, with our partners, whatever the case. When we heal those things, it can just release so much drama and stress from our lives. It doesn't mean that things aren't going to happen to you and things aren't going to be hard anymore. It just means that you're stepping gracefully into the next chapter of your life. There's always going to be ups and downs, but at least the past, the far past, doesn't have to keep dragging you down from things that are no longer relevant. There's this really interesting book. There's two of them I'm going to recommend. One is called Body Keeps a Score. It talks about the healing of trauma in the body and how it alters our brain, how we think, how we act. He uses a lot of examples from veterans who have post-traumatic stress disorder from Vietnam. And that was the first time they really started to research why these people were acting this way and why they were so deeply impacted and how things that seemed seemingly irrelevant to each other were so interconnected. And it's very interesting and it makes you think a lot. It is definitely one that you need to take your time with because there's a lot of sensitive kind of topics where you have to sit and integrate a little bit. And then the other one is called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. I haven't read it yet, but the summary basically says Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers explores the leading causes of stress and how to keep it under control, as well as the biological science behind stress, which can be a catalyst for performance in the short term, but a potential threat in the long run. So it talks about how holding on to traumas and stress can actually really impact our health and our life in general. So not only does this stress stay in our bodies, but in our minds and our hearts. And so it's so important to learn more about ourselves and why we do the things we do and heal so that we don't continue this pattern. That's what they mean when they say generational trauma. So healing those things, breaking the cycle, and having new, healthier habits instead of running to substances, toxic habits, toxic people, whatever the case, breaking that cycle, loving ourselves. And really, when you love yourself, you don't let anybody tell you shit. You don't let anybody step on your toes. You don't let anybody cross your boundaries. When you love yourself, you know what you want. And it is a process. We don't just love ourselves overnight after not loving ourselves, but it is a very fulfilling process because you see yourself changing along the way. You can literally change your life by just trying to make small changes in the way that you speak to yourself, in the way that you treat yourself, in the way that you think, in the way that you understand, looking for deeper understanding and really questioning why you do things. That's really all you need. All you need is love. You need to love yourself and, heal. Be a better you for nobody but yourself. Thank you for watching. I'm going to be posting every Friday. Subscribe, comment below if you have any questions or topics that you recommend. Thank you. Peace out, and I'll see you guys next week.